hope you're having a great day here listening to Revolution Radio. Everybody asked for this. Revolution Radio. Where the information never sleeps.
Welcome to Sacred Matrix, a divine paradigm of love and universal consciousness, with your host, Janet Kira Lesson and Dr. Sasha Lesson.
Together, we transform the world.
And now, here are your hosts, Janet Kira and Dr. Sasha Lesson.
Hello, hi, everybody, and welcome to the Sacred Matrix. It's another post and lesson with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Alex. We got a little feedback here. I'm not sure if you get that. And you're listening to Revolution Radio. Studio B, and our producer is Thomas Becker, also known as the Mad Painter. And his allergies are getting me. So anyway, our guests today are Barbara Jean Lindsey and Karen Gresham Nickell. I'm sorry, my phone just rang. It's Karen calling me, of course. Okay. Try calling Karen again, Ahmad, please. She's calling me. Or else let me have a number. Oh, I can give her to call maybe. Anyway, we're going to have a panel here today, and we're going to talk about all kinds of things like our relationship with fear and spirituality and consciousness, hypnotherapy and psychic readings, and all kinds of wonderful topics. Karen is a certified clinical hypnotherapist and licensed educator in Texas, and she's a contactee clinical hypnotherapist. So she's also a extraterrestrial experiencer. And Barbara is an internationally acclaimed psychic author, spiritual teacher, and inspirational speaker, and she has a show here on Revolution Radio as well, Fridays from 5 to 7 p.m. called the Cosmic Oracle Show. She's been with Revolution Radio about 5 years, I think. Okay, Sasha, would you like to say something? And Ahmad, did you get either of the ladies? They shown up?
Well, they've both been here. We can't hear Barbara, and the other one keeps dropping. She just keeps hanging up.
Okay.
We can't hear her.
Barbara, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Now we can hear Barbara.
Yay!
Okay. I'm going to send a message to Karen. So, Sasha, would you like to say something about today's show?
Yes. Okay, yeah, I find it useful to embrace all parts of the self, and to, whenever you feel like there's an opposite, for example, fear isn't fear versus love. It's a matter of what is the fear telling you, and what does it have to contribute? What does it need? Probably needs you to pay attention. And with everything, it's like what makes a person able to transcend a lock-in into a part of their personality and at the same time shut off another part is the inability to listen to the opposite sides of everything, because there's two sides to everything. And that's the trick. The things that bug you in other people are the resonations of the things you can't stand in yourself and you haven't come to grips with. Otherwise, it wouldn't bug you. And the same thing with things that you overly admire in others. So it's all a matter of embracing all the opposites within you. Then you'll be at peace with those outside of you.
So, welcome. Oh, sorry, getting feedback. Barbara, welcome to the show. Tell us what's going on in your life. What's new? What's happening?
Okay. Well, I just got back from a trip across the country by car. I haven't done that in a long time. I went to the Peebles, Ohio, um, the World Peace Summit there, and was able to speak and able to meet a whole bunch of amazing people and walk the Serpent Mound there, a archaeological historical site built by probably the Anunnaki, you guys. I don't know who built it, but it's right next to this huge crater, and it's been there forever. And it's really juicy. You walk on it, and you feel something for sure. It's kind of like it took you in. I walked it like 7 times around total to get a real feeling of it, and it's in the shape of a serpent. And as you walk it, it took you down to like the underground, and then it brought you back up and elevated you once you walked the whole circumference of it. So it was interesting and wonderful, and to walk where the ancestors had walked before. You could kind of feel them, and in a big tree, I saw kind of like a Mayan guardian in the tree. The tree itself kind of became a guardian. You could see him there kind of guarding the place, and we were able to walk it on the summer solstice.
Hello, this is Karen Gresham, Nickell. Please leave your name and phone number.
Okay, she said give her a second. She's texted me when she's able to pick up. I'm sorry, something happened, so she's delayed. So I'm interested. I'm just watching a show right now. I forget the guy's name, and I don't know where he is in the world. He kind of looks like an elfish type of person, but he's walking through the woods, and he keeps showing these images of these little pixies. Mm. So you're saying you saw like a nature spirit, or was it a ghost? What was it? What did you see in the trees?
It was definitely a nature spirit, but I'm walking and I feel it, and I'm on the other side. So I'm I was in a meditative walk, kind of right where you're in between the worlds, and I looked across, and there's this huge tree, and in it you could I took a photo of it, and I don't have it with me. It's on my friend's phone. But I could get it to you. But it looks just like a huge guardian. It had the belt on, like a belt and a skirt and like a shield, and it was and you could see the outline of it. But I was able to kind of see what it looked like maybe from days past. Not sure. I just felt it, so I looked at it, and then there it was. I think you had to be in a right space to be able to see it.
So you were straight. You weren't smoking anything.
No,
and you were able to.
Yeah, like my dad calls it, wacky tobacco. No, I wasn't. I wasn't at all. So I don't need all of that. I don't need it. I'm just made that way to see it, I think. So
right. People do sacred journeys. I have nothing, against, ayahuasca or peyote or whatever people do in ceremony. Yeah. Indigenous people do it around the world. It's a natural thing for them. But I just wondered if your ritual included any kind of sacrament or enhancement. There's people over here in Maui, they used to do these ayahuasca ceremonies, and they would bring a shaman in from one of the indigenous tribes. Hi, okay, are you there, Karen?
I am. I'm sorry. I just was on a session and then I stopped. I forgot, and I had a friend that died 2 days ago. Karen Reindeer from the symposium.
Well, you're live on the show. So wanted to just make sure you know you're live on the show. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So we're I can't hardly hear you. Can you talk into
I'm having a bad
mic,
time
please?
too.
Okay.
I'm having a bad time hearing you too.
Okay.
Can
let's just
for a second.
Can we what?
Wonder if I shouldn't go back on the other number.
Yeah, let's. I gave him the other number, so we'll have him call you on the other number. Okay.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
hang up, and he'll call you on the other number. So bad caller on the first
Yeah.
number. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Sasha. What would you like to add to this conversation about the Serpent Mound? Sasha, are you muted? Sasha, are you muted?
Yeah, some of the information I got from Michael Lee Hill, who is the peacemaker of the Hosawani, the Iroquois. He gave me these following notes. The Serpent Mound's on a plateau of Serpent Mound Crater along the Ohio Brush Creek in Adams County, Ohio. It's 1,348 feet long, 5 kilometers wide, 3-foot-high stone effigy with a snake with an egg in its mouth. This mound dates earlier than 3000 BC, and it sits on a high hill beside one of Earth's largest geomagnetic anomalies, where an asteroid had, millions of years ago, hit shattered stones down to 2 kilometers. It constantly traps and changes its magnetic and gravitational field and generates Earthlights when the electromagnetic field hits gases above. The electromagnetic energy channels through a vast cavern system in dolomite limestone beneath and focuses up through the serpent effigy, where it has attracted lightning strikes and Anunnaki aircraft. It also let those who meditated at the site see images, like Barbara Jean. The serpent's effigy rock coils on the ground outline of a constellation Draco. It's just like the constellation Draco.
Oh.
On the sky above. Each coil points in the sky above to a point over which an eclipse of the sun or moon or an equinox or solstice will occur. The seventh coil of the effigy serpent rests directly beneath the only star that held its position through the night in the sky, the pole star, the one that appears stationary in the sky as it was 5,000 years ago. The lineup of this pole star over the effigy duplicated the lineup of the pole star exactly as the sighting line the Anunnaki placed at the Great Giza Pyramid in Egypt, where Barbara Jean had quite an experience. And the sighting stones are where Marduk's brother, Nagashita, or Thoth, fashioned at Stonehenge with the same lineup. It proves the same builders, the Anunnaki, the serpent people, constructed all 3 sites.
Wow. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
So do you think you saw a ghost? Was that maybe a hologram they left that when people come to do ceremony, maybe it activates a hologram? Do you think it was a person?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think's going on?
It felt like a hologram. It was like I'm walking, and all of a sudden, and I walked around it so I could get the feeling of it. And so it seemed like each time I walked it, I went into it deeper. So I had done a sage ceremony where I saged myself. I set my intention and to receive, whatever information, not only for myself, but for humanity. And that I was thankful, grateful to be at that spot. And I did take off my shoes and I did walk the mound barefoot around too. And when I looked across, it was just as clear as could be. But I could only hold it for a little bit, and then it's just kind of not there. So it was just, I think it was meant for me to see that there's guardians there that if you're in that vibe, I guess your vibration's high enough for something where you can click into it, or it felt like an opening, like hello, we see you, I see them. It felt like an association of some sort. Maybe Sasha would know, right? Sasha, you know more than.
Well, I want to know if Sekhmet, did Sekhmet contact you while you were there? Because this is the same alignment as Giza. Whatever got you in Giza is the same energy there.
Well,
did you sense it?
Yeah, you're gonna love this, because when I got there, not on the mound itself, but where the place where they were having the summit, she had 17 cats. There were 17 cats. There was Terry Rivera doing the work. Her and her husband, Thomas Johnson, were the hosts for this. And I'm allergic to cats. So when I went to this place, I was not feeling great because I had already kind of been put, for me, have cats are kind of attack and then I can't breathe. And it makes me a little bit weak. It makes me weak. And so when I was walking this, I was in a weakened state of beingness in a way. So I didn't have any Sekhmet, but I'll tell you what I did have, Sasha. 2 weeks before that, that's how all this happened. I had a lucid dream. And in the lucid dream was Bill Holman. He's the caretaker of the skull, a friend of mine now. And he was showing me these doorways. As he was showing me the doorways, to the right of me was this long corridor. Coming up the corridor is this huge white snake, as big as the place we were in, so at least 10 feet tall, maybe taller. Making that kind of movement now, like I saw at the Serpent Mound, kind of this really nice, smooth, round snake kind of movement. Then it came up to me and it wrapped itself around me really gently. Then it came way up above my head, and then it came back down and bit me on the side of my neck. So that's what got me to the Serpent Mound. That's why I had to go. And I didn't know anything about it until I talked to Bill the next day. And I told him the dream. And he goes, well, Barbara, I'm going to go to Serpent Mound in 2 weeks. You want to come? So that's how it all kind of came down. I was meant to be there on that day. I still don't know for what reason, but I was there. I showed up.
What message did you take away from that whole, I guess, weekend, and then from that ceremony itself?
That's, sometimes we can feel alone and isolated, but we have our guardians are walking with us. Our ancient ones, our ancestors are there. If you take the time to go within and find them, they're right there. They're helping you, and they have gifts for you. They have knowledge for you, and you're not alone in this walk here on the planet. In fact, we have everything it takes to get us to where we need to go.
Okay, I think we have Karen Nickell with us, and I wanted to introduce you to each other. And I'm sorry, I'm choking today. The dust from the Sahara hasn't reached Maui, but I've got some allergies going on. But I wanted you to say hi to each other and tell. So Karen, say hi to Barbara, and Barbara, say hi to Karen. These are two of my most favorite people, and then I've got Sasha and Matt. So I'm having a good time today. So go ahead, Karen. Come into the show. Do you have anything to add to what Barbara just said about Serpent Mound and Sasha?
Okay. Hi, Barbara. How are you?
Hi.
I'm Karen.
It's great to meet you, Karen.
Thank you. Hi, Sasha. So anyway, I thought your story was great. It seems like you had quite an experience, and kind of how did you feel about that?
I felt old. I felt old and ancient walking it. I felt my gray hair. It was really gray. Okay, so
it took a lot of energy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that. Yeah, that's great. Well, I don't really know what to say, so I just have finished a lot of sessions today, and I'm looking forward to moving in here with you guys. So I think the energy, I can hear you all very well. The sound is good. Can you hear me? I know I have allergies.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay.
So both do sessions, and so, and I've been in contact with the dead all of my life. And I, started out with it. And I don't do sessions like you do. I do more like psychotherapy. But can you tell us, go back and forth, about your work and what you do? And one more comment. It's interesting you're allergic to cats, but you're Barbara. You're I don't know what you want to call her. Sekhmet is your goddess, right? And she's a cat,
totem.
The cat goddess. The
Totem.
totem, yes. What's that about, Barbara?
It's a cosmic joke, I think. It's like, don't take it too seriously, because that's how I take it. It's like, they think it's funny. I think they think it's really funny. least that's how I take it.
Yeah, that's the eighth chakra. The clown chakra opened up. Your clown chakra opened up.
Did you ever get killed by a cat or something? Do you have any memories of cat karma?
Well,
like a big cat
I
or something?
think
Lion killed you?
it's associated with asthma, I think, because I was born with asthma. I've had it so far my whole life. I'm still working on removing it, of course, but I think that somehow it has to do. It could be each of, like with the putting the lid on and you're suffocating or something like that. Sometimes I get that image, but I don't know how real that is.
Yeah.
So what is?
Did your mother smoke?
My mom
did. Smoke?
No, she never did, but my dad smoked 2.5 packs of Camels every day.
Jenna says that, a mother inhaling smoke affects the child, and asthma is a more likely outcome.
Yeah, she's never smoked.
But
but she got second.
Yeah, your dad.
Second smoke.
Of course. I didn't think about that. That's true.
Right. Did she drink?
No, not a drinker at all. But my dad did. I think he did everything for the two of them, okay?
So tell Karen about how you died with Sekhmet. Why Sekhmet is important to you.
Okay.
Like the reader's digest.
Yeah, I would love your what you get, Karen. I appreciate you listening to my wild story. You can't. Okay. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. I was in Egypt, minding my own business. I walked into Sekhmet's temple. We had the honor to have her. I had her for 10 minutes by myself. So my friend Nikki brings me in. It's all dark. There's a light beam coming down off the top of her head. She's about 7 feet tall. She has a lotus staff in one hand and an ankh in another. She has a female body with a lioness head. And so I'm just standing there and looking at her, and she walks out of her statue into 3D, like you and I are all sitting down having, dinner or something. She's right in 3D form. She walks out. She puts she locks into my eyes. She has very red eyes that put like a tractor beam into my eyes and then throughout my body. And you can feel it. It's like zzz, like it turns on. And then she puts a circle of fire around us. And then she puts down golden stairs. I step up the golden stairs with her. And then the fire ring fills with water, dark water. And then she just zooms in on me and tells me that I'm powerful and to not forget that and to remember who I am and that I've earned it. And she finally said, "Do you get it?" And I said, "Yeah, I get it." I could hardly say yeah. And the energy was so strong that it cracked my front tooth at the time. And so she waited for me to get it, that I had power and to use it, get off my knees, basically. Then once I got it, then she felt like I did get it. And so then the water came up, the fire disappeared. I stepped off the steps. She pulled them back up, and then she stepped back into her statue. And then I fell to the ground, and they came and got me. And I cried for 3 days. And I just released mainly all of the sadness and pain and suffering that I had in my body that was happening on the planet. Because I just cried and cried. And then I just let go. I couldn't even know why I was crying, but the body needed to release all of that. And I think she really helped me. And within the year, I left an abusive relationship as well. And she's known for helping people leave abusive relationships. So she's alive and well. Not only did this happen to me, but it's happened not exactly in this way, but really close to thousands of people currently. So you never know when you step in her temple what you're going to get. I did go back the second time, and she just purred, and she didn't come out or anything, but that she was proud of me, and that's kind of what I got. But no, I didn't need a big, bop on the head to get something. But I'm going back. I'm taking a group February 5th through the 15th of 2021.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful. That's a powerful one.
Yeah. So I have a book. It's called Seized by Sekhmet, and it's written. There's about 10 other people that have their stories in there. So I thought it was important because I'm not the only one this happens to. There's lots of people that this happens to. So.
Oh, you were chosen. That's beautiful.
Well, I don't know if I was chosen or if she was getting like hard up and needed somebody, But
chosen. That's
so. Does she still come?
Barbara Jean, is she still with that kind of contact? I'll bet you the resonance of Sekhmet, the fractal of she is within you, and I wonder what your inner Sekhmet would like to tell the world right now.
Ooh, okay. Because she is with me all the time. Since that, she has been with me. And like now that I think about when I was walking the mound, I had a group of the Sekhmets with me. There was a group, not just me, but I felt like there were at least 5 or 6 around me walking with me. I've never
That's
had
what
that.
I thought.
I never thought about that, Sasha. I thought, where you can kind of see them, kind of feel them, but you just you're into doing what you're doing. But I really felt them with me walking that. So I would say as the inner Sekhmet of me would be to tell the people of humanity that you're strong and of immortal fire, and that your walk on this planet at this time is really important, that you bring your light and your love to dispel this fear. And it can and it will. I hope. That's it.
Thank you.
So Karen, it's beautiful. Karen, what do you want people to know about you? This is a different audience than the other shows. So who are you, and what do you want Barbara to know about you and your story, and our listeners to know?
Well, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and I have done a lot of things. I'm an empath, and I teach people how to link to their higher self and find I call it their power strip. And it sounds like you really have a beautiful one, by the way. I've always liked Sekhmet. But anyway, I've done this for like 35 years all over the world. And so I used to also be affiliated with a doctor. We had a clinic in the 90s, and he was he was a heart surgeon, and he was in the DeBakey team back in Houston in the 70s. And so we had a clinic, and we could do a lot of stuff with this. I used to do the family of origin traditional stuff and was trained in that. And then it got to where I couldn't. It was so heavy I had to let it go. And I found another way to go up over it and take more of a higher way to deal with it for the individual, and I channel that. And so I give readings through energy and sound, and I read pictures and I read sound, and I have a film going interdimensionally between me and the individual I'm reaching that's providing me to see the information. So that's how I do it. I've done it many different ways, and I'm also a recording. I have 3 CDs on Amazon, 4, 3 in English and 1 in Portuguese. And so I have lived in Brazil on a project in the 70s for 8 years. Then I went to Italy and lived there and was back and forth everywhere and kind of stayed put in the 90s when we had the business. And then here I am now. So I've been I'm from Dallas, and that's where I am now. and I've been here for a long time, kind of settled down after all that. So I've been through a lot. And I just had a dear friend to pass 2 days ago, who came to me the minute she passed. And she was with, Huh?
You said she came to you the minute she passed?
Well, I found it out. She's with, I'm with Starworks USA with Paula Harris. And so I met her there. And her name is Taryn Power Greendeer. She was Tyrone Power's daughter. And so she's very metaphysical. She was very evolved. And she died from leukemia, and she was at Mayo Clinic. And I just met her there in 2018. We became great friends, and I talked to her a lot. Well, she was in the hospital for over a month. And I contacted MD Anderson down here and see what I could do and help. And she was so evolved, so we talked in depth. And she had this book that her other sister, Romina, had written about their dad. And she called her publicist and had it overnighted to me, so I knew right then that she didn't think she was going to be here very long. And so she told me she would connect with me when she left. Well, I didn't tell her this, but whenever I was 14, my mother died with the same thing, but I never wanted to say that to her in the beginning because it was acute leukemia. So she tried, she really was strong. She was unbelievably evolved. And so 2 days ago, I was in my recording studio, and I was doing my MP3, is what I call it, my SIN disc or whatever that Derek puts up. And I channeled my music, and I heard this swish in there, and it was like that, but really loud. And I thought, okay. I thought it might be Robert. And I thought, but it didn't seem like Robert. And I didn't know who it was. And so I got back, finished my music recording, and got back and called Derek, and he shipped it out. And I said, hey, I just heard this sound in there when I was doing this recording. It was like a swish. I knew it was somebody, but I still can't figure out who it was. So the next day, Paula texted me and told me about this, and I was just devastated, And even though I knew it, it's still never the right time. And so I asked her when this had happened, and she said, last night. That was the night that I did the recording. And so a lot of beautiful things happened around me, visions and understanding, and I knew she was super happy. So I'm just kind of processing that right now. And so I want to tell everybody how wonderful she was and how evolved, and she had powerful energy. And the Native American Indians were real important to her. So when I'm finished, Derek and I are going to do a little tribute and find something in Native American, I don't know, he'll find it and put it out there because I want to honor her.
What would you like to tell her now?
Pardon me?
What would you like to say to her? What would you like to say to her? She's listening. What would you like to say to her right now?
I'm going to tell her right now that I loved her with all my heart, and I knew that we'd been together through so many lives, especially Italy, and no telling where else, and that she is being honored here on Aquarian Radio and thank you so much, Taryn, for having come during my recording and so many beautiful results you just did. The past couple of days have been outstanding. And so I know you're there with your mom and dad, and say hello to Robert, too. He loved you, too. So that's what I want to say with all my heart.
Thank you. Sasha. Hello?
Hello?
If you were to change roles and be her and enter a remote view from her perspective, what would you like to say to you, to Karen, as she?
Okay, that's great. Let's see. I would like to say that only know that we're in a play, and we're in a beautiful play to get all the glitches fixed and to realize our power of self and our gift of coming through this play, and that everything is well, and then this is but an illusion of so many different lives and dimensions. And that's what I would like to say, is to always remember that. And that we are forever. The self is forever, and the theater goes through many. So that's what I'd like to say.
Oh.
So, do you have anything to add, Barbara?
Me?
Barbara, what did you get while that was happening? Did you get anything?
Yeah, all this love between them for sure. Just like this amazing, like pinks and oranges, really in golds. It's really beautiful, really, really beautiful.
Thank you. And I'm going to say something else about my mother, because I had a wonderful mother. She was truly an angel, but she died at 50 with the same thing Taryn did, and I just want to tell her that I love her and that I'm grateful that she's here with us and was probably helping, too, with Taryn in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Does your mother have some place in your body that resonates when she wants to communicate with you? Where do you locate, or how do you call her? Do you have a way to get to her when you choose?
Well, it's interesting because I know it was so far ago, but the now to me is the past, present, future in one. I guess just the recognition of her love and how she treated me. I mean, really, I had the life of a princess with her for 14 years. And then my dad was very educated. He had his company, and he always supported me being different. I was always like this. And he encouraged it. And I'm grateful for that. I really am. And with her, I guess I've had more communication with my dad than I have her. I have communication with her, I think, through this, because it was the blood, and it really, really got me. So, and I appreciate that, Sasha. That's great. So if I seem a little, I'm processing this emotion, and
I understand.
I want to tell everybody here, and I think that those of us who have volunteered to come in here at a time like this, and we all have, and many others, my goal is to try to help people see past the gerbil wheel. I know that sounds awful, but there's so many different places of life and beingness that we have the power to go to, like where Barbara went was just beautiful and so real. I could see it. I could see the colors, and I could see the visions and the different dimensions going in and out. And I could even smell. There was a smell. I forgot to tell you this, Barbara, but I had the smell of that flower. I think either you said it was a flower or it was given to me that it was a flower around.
There were lots of there was flowers in the hedges. I don't know what they were, but they were amazing. The aroma was beautiful.
Because it certainly wasn't from the earth plane with my allergies like this right now. But I was smelling it within myself and within my head.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you guys for being there for me tonight over this.
Anytime here for you.
So sorry. We'll hold you.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
What? Me or who?
Whoever was talking, I kept talking over them. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't have anything else to say right now.
Okay, so Barbara Jean.
Yes.
Since I'm open for questions.
Pass the talking stick to you.
I'm just saying it's an honor to hold this space for you to have your process. It's a sacred process, and for you to be here with us and to do this with you is certainly my privilege.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I appreciate that with all my heart.
So,
I'm very honored to be here with all.
Conversation. Well, thank you. Are we complete with the? Do we have any other people that are on the other side that want to communicate with us? I should ask. Do you two work? How do you work? I'm watching this show on CBS about a psychic, and he goes in, he does these cold kind of calls, and all of a sudden he sees their relatives and everything coming in, and he gets their names like all the time. He just gets a name. He's very accurate. Now I could never work like that, I don't think. So both of you, do you bring in the dead, or so that's a medium? But so what do you do, Barbara, when you do a reading? What part of the universe are you accessing? How's that work?
Well, for me, I can never guarantee it, and I don't. But if it's meant to be, it shows up. And so my job is just to be there, be grounded, be open, have the space set. And if whoever they're asking to come in will come in, and then I see it just like a video. It just opens up, and my job is to read it from as high and as neutral of a space as I can. And then as I'm reading it, to filter it so that the person can receive it in the highest and best way they can. So it just comes and you just do it. It opens up if it's right. It's nothing that I can manufacture or summon, that's for sure. But if it's meant for this person to have usually it's a closure or something that needs to be said or something that needs to be healed. And sometimes every once in a while you'll have someone come in and it's just funny. It's just to make you laugh. And sometimes that happens as well. But when someone will call me and ask me, they want to talk to someone on the other side, I want to make sure that they've tried everything else first. Kind of, have they grieved enough? Have they talked about it enough? Have they been through their process? And if it's still there, then I'll help them by setting the space for someone from the other side or the afterlife to come forward and with healing. But as a general rule, I don't do it. I don't know why, but it's just not my thing. Unless I have to, then I do. So there you go. There you have it.
That's great.
So do you have questions for each other? And I'll just kind of sit back and let you guys talk for a few.
Oh, I can relate to Barbara about what she said about the picture. I think we do see pictures as we're doing this. And I find that I see pictures more when it just happens. Mm-hmm. And I know what you mean, Barbara, about when somebody asks you, they just have to. They have to kind of come in with me too, because sometimes they'll come in when they're not asked to help, and then we recognize it, and that was quite interesting.
Yeah, I was
many times for many different people.
Yeah.
In fact, with Taryn. Because I could hear her dad's voice, and we were talking about it. And I never knew her dad. I mean, my goodness, long time ago. And maybe on the screen, on the movies, but I didn't remember. But I just heard him just call her name. And then I heard Robert say something. Well, Robert met Taryn at the symposium, and that was about it. And I knew something was going on. And then I could feel the energy around it, and I was aware of sensing the different multi-dimensions, and with other people too. I can do that. When I talk to them, I see that there's more dimension than just myself and where they are, and I can usually see where they are, and then this other invisible dimension comes in with other people. And ET's that way too for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
A lot of them around right now.
Yeah. Well, and for me, it's like the energy is bigger than me. That's how I know, right? It's where they've got to talk. So they kind of interject their energy into what you've set the energy at a certain space, right? Time and everything. And they kind of come in and there's like, me, it's like my turn. And they kind of step in because their energies it seems to be higher and it's stronger, and it's like it's becomes bigger than me, bigger than my conversation with the client. It's like the person comes in and says, look, I need to let go. I need to have a download or whatever it is. And so it gets your attention, right? It just totally gets your attention. So you have to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I think I told this story last time I was here or on one of the shows where I had a client that wanted me to do a reading for her husband, and I didn't really want to. And so finally I let her. And when he came in and I'm reading it, she said, stop the reading. And I go, why? And she goes, it was the wrong husband that I was doing. I was giving the reading of the wrong husband. It wasn't the husband she wanted to talk to. But it ended up that was the husband that she needed the healing with. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah. What did he say?
He said that when he left, that she had agreed with him that she would help take care of the two daughters, her two stepdaughters, and she had never done that. And so she promised him that she would get together and have a conversation with them, which she did later.
Oh, that's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it is.
So we're living in these times where a lot of people are passing over, a lot more than, I guess, typical. And people, if they aren't personally passing over, a lot more people are dealing with death and dying and having to say. I was listening to stories about COVID, how they can only go up to the hospital door and they just walk them up to the door and they don't know if they're going to see their loved one ever again. And sometimes they don't. So we were talking about dealing with, what did you say? I'm sorry, my computer's tied up for the moment. Dealing with grief, dealing with pain, dealing with this situation now. And what was it you had said, Barbara, you wanted to talk about? Dealing with fear.
Yeah.
Dealing with fear. So address that issue.
Yeah.
What
fear
are we dealing with?
Yeah. I like what Sasha said earlier at the beginning of the show. I mean, the clients I've been working with, they're all in fear. Life's out of control. And so their worst fears come in. And so what are the solutions? How do you deal with that? And first of all, you have to be aware that it's fear and work with it. And I thought Sasha had some really valid points of how to do that and to be aware of it and to work with it and through it. And I taught firewalking for all those years, and it's to build a relationship with fear so that it becomes an ally, and it's a tool, a learning tool that you can go through, not around it and not deny it, but actually go through it. And if you can, you get to the other side of it and you're stronger for it and more wise.
Oh, I agree with that totally. That's huge. Yeah, totally. That is so true.
Yeah. Ultimately, no human emotion is entirely deleterious if it's balanced, and the needs that motivate it. That's what you want to get to, the needs that motivate it. For example, anger. People are afraid of, I must not be angry. But you say, well, angry part? Or what is it that you need, and when did that need arise? And it usually is, you need to assert yourself effectively. And so you can take anything like that. And there's also a hidden value in everything. Like one of the functions of fear is pay attention to what might be dangerous. And I think it's spurious that there even is other people or people in another dimension. When you think of somebody, you're creating a coherent field with the consciousness that you perceive as the other, and there isn't any other. That's just a function of the way your brain works. But we're all one. That's the way I look at things.
Mm.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And maybe sometimes fear is masking another emotion. Some people who say they're afraid may act out and it comes out as anger or sadness. So how do you make that distinction when someone's saying they're afraid? Is there anything
I would say to get more afraid. Let the fear grow. Let the catastrophic expectations be actualized so that you can experience them and you'll be able to work through it.
Right.
That's great.
That's the same with firewalking. Before you walk, you put it in words and you put it in on boards and you put it in paper and you say, this is what I'm afraid of. What's the worst that could happen? And then you go through all the worst things that could happen. But by acknowledging them, then it takes away its power. If there's a power over you, and then you get to acknowledge it, and then you get to be neutralized to it, and then you get to walk through it over the fire, and then you're on the other side, and you just feel great.
I firewalked one time, and you taught it for years, right?
Yeah.
That's
pretty
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever firewalk, Karen?
No, I never did. No, I didn't.
Sasha?
And I know that Tony Robbins, is that what he used to come and do that in these large cities?
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that I'm around here, and I might ask you all this because I know it, who need to express their fear, who need to identify and need to say it, but they fix a bubble around themselves and they don't like to go past, just their own little thing. And most of them don't want to watch the news or see anything that's going on of the people in that category. Not all my people are that way. I have a certain group of my students that are extremely evolved, and they do. But people in general, social, just, they're not my people. Some of them may be, but for the most part, no. My people are seekers and journeyers. But I think that's interesting how we're in a world, and it's interesting to me, the populace, the major populace that makes up our world is more like that than we're all in a minority, even though there are a lot of us who are doing and thinking like we're thinking. But this COVID that's happened is a real opportune time to do this seeking and searching and, going through, walking the walk of the light. So, yeah. I'm curious if y'all could have any ideas about that one.
What was the question again about
one thing
COVID?
I'm trying to, if a person doesn't really want to deal with the content, but they really have something bugging with them inside, what we often use is techniques we call bioenergetics. You lie on your back and you turn your head from side to side and you hit your feet and hands on both sides and you yell, no, 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 no. You don't have to know what you're doing no about, but it might connect with some actual memories, but it doesn't matter. If you just do that for a certain amount of time, there's a series of exercises like that, and you let out whatever this stuff is without necessarily contact. However, if you're open, you'll get the contact of what this is about in terms of your history. There's a lot of ways of just getting your yas out without necessarily connecting psychologically. But if you're going to really get it down to the core, it's really useful to get to what does this resonate with in my current life and in my past lives and the life of my ancestors.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Well, thank you. That's really good. And what about the people, though, that I'm not working with that are just walking around outside, people you just see or have a brief talk with and who don't even talk about any of this? I'm talking about socially. There are a lot of people I see that don't even talk about it, or, here in Dallas, because it's different here than in Maui. Or where are you from, Barbara?
Right now I'm in Portland, but I'm headed back to a new home in Sierra Madre, which is Los Angeles, California.
Oh, yeah. See, that side of the map is very evolved, and open. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm here. So that's good. I'm grateful. But I just people in general, just walking around, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine, I'm great, and they're not. They don't want to look at and they say, oh, I don't want to watch the news. So I guess they're just not ready to deal with anything. I think if we deal with our stuff now at a time like this, I think we can raise the frequency as a mass. As we get together and raise the frequency of all this, and this thing would wind down and be a lot better. But with the COVID,
yeah, I think it's where we feel powerless, right? You feel powerless, and if you can look at where you're feeling powerless, and then break it. It doesn't mean you have to break it in violence. Violence begets violence, but it also to make you powerless is kind of its reason is to freeze you and make you feel powerless and then make you engage. And so it's where if you can stay in your center. But for me to stay in my center, I need to yell and scream a lot. So I'm like that. And so a lot of growing up with my kids, once a month we'd go around in the car and we had an hour to yell every obscenity we wanted. And so it's a way and they do it with their kids now too. It cracks me up. But they needed to get that out. And like people don't have the baseball games where they can go yell for their team and scream. I think we need to do that. We need to let it out.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Okay, hold that thought. We're coming on a break here. We'll be back in 5 minutes. So we'll hold that thought. We'll see you in 5.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Join Revolution Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Studio B for Momentary Zen with host Zen Garcia at freedomslips.com, the People Station.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
This is the people's war. It is our war. We are the fighters. Fight it then. Fight it with all that is in us. And may God defend the right.
Warning, warning.
We gotta stop them! They're gonna kill us all! See how the trouble you've started? Be they the government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone, or human beings. Time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't
can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported talk radio station, throwing ourselves upon the gears of the machine. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
You called down the thunder, well, now you got it. Right, you tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Revolution Radio. All right, thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
Aloha, everybody, and welcome back to the Sacred Matrix. And I'm your host, Janet Lesson, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Alex Lesson, and our producer is Thomas Becker, also known as the Mad Painter. And you're listening to Revolution Radio Studio B. And on our panel today, we have Barbara Jean Lindsay and Karen Gresham Nickell. And before we get back to our show, I'd like to remind everybody, please go over to the donation button on revolution.radio and go up to the top tab on the left and make your one-time donation, or go to the Patreon button and make a recurring donation. And we really, really thank you so much for making your donation. You help us make things work here at Revolution Radio. Okay, Dr. Lesson wanted to start the second round of conversations. Okay. So back to you.
Yeah, at the break, before the break, Karen had mentioned, what do you do about ordinary people that don't want to do any depth exploration and don't want to get hassled or even worry about anything if they can avoid it? And so I'll tell you what I do. Is I start by admiring the facade that the person puts forward, seeing what about the way they're presenting themselves I can admire, truly admire. And I may say something, or I may just, you can tell by my demeanor that I've done that. When that primary is relaxed, then the person will gradually, as they learn to trust me, that I don't slam them, to let more and more things out. And I do a process called pacing and leading. So if we're talking something very intellectual, I'll meet them intellectually, and then I'll make a slightly emotional comment somewhere, and they'll match me without even realizing they're doing it. I also use postural things. If I'm in a place with them, I start sitting and breathing exactly as they do. That's a way of admiring them. And then I change it. I can slow down my breathing. Their breathing will slow down. I gesture like they do. And then I whatever I want to do. It's like, it's so easy once you understand people. That's what I think.
What you're saying is that when you match them and lead in pace, you're kind of empathizing with them, right? You're meeting them where they are, and then...
Yeah, understand this. You start with what they present. I don't dig on people. I don't try to change them. I never give advice, because you cheat the person out of figuring it out himself if you give them advice. You just set the situation up so they can discover their own answers. That's what I do, anyhow.
Question for the panel, and then we'll go, I don't know, I guess Barbara, then Karen, then me, then you, something like that. Okay, what's your question for the panel?
Okay, let's see. Let's see. I wrote some notes down. What the hell did I write here? How does the something work? And I don't know what the heck I wrote. What does this? How does the something work? Tell me how whatever I wrote. I can't read. How does the universe work? How is it that you can access you can enter the mind of other people and other cultures and other lives that you have led or haven't yet led, and other dimensions? How the hell does that work? And okay. especially Sekhmet, especially you, Barbara Jean, because I know that some of the stuff you said made more sense to me. It was almost like reading the Urantia book when you got to those higher realms and the goddesses that were making things work. I really love that. I'd like to hear more about that, really.
Okay. Well, for me, we'll call it the divine highway would be love, right? Love is the answer. Love is where we all meet up, right? Love is where we exchange. It's where we are all the same, and that we come from that love, and we are that love, and we return to that love, and we're immortal. And so we get to just I don't know, have it, enjoy it, squeeze every drop out of this lifetime that you have it, because it's cool to have a body to put all this through. A lot of times, like when we work with different beings and different entities that show up, or different time zones that show up, or the future or whatever, they don't have a body. And I'm always thinking that really, we're taught here that the body is a problem, but it's really a gift, because we get to try on this skin dressing, right? This robe. And then it's like, it's kind of like a computer in a way. And we get to put our spirit into it and have all of these experiences. And that's how I've ever been taught. The best way is through experience. Like Sekhmet, when she came in, she gave me an experience. And I think you guys do that in your work. We're there, we hold the energy, and the people have an experience. Doesn't really matter what we say or what we do, but if they have an experience other than themselves, it gives them hope, it gives them inspiration, it heals them, and it sets them on to another place. And sometimes just by being who you are is all you have to do, right? And then I loved what you were saying, Sasha, how to interact with someone to feel like you're connected, that you're one, right? So, okay, that's my rant.
Okay, over to Karen. Ask the question again, Sasha.
How does the universe work? How can you? That's it. How does the universe work? And how can you use that the way it works to feel good and help other people be happy?
Are you there, Barbara?
Oh, you're asking me again? Oh.
Not Barbara. Karen, are you there? Are you? I don't know. Did we lose Karen? All right. I'll take a turn. Are you on mute?
Undo your mic, Karen. Karen, undo your mic.
Hi.
Okay, try that again. How does the universe work according to your information, cosmology, thoughts, ideas? Hello?
Who are we talking? Hello?
Yeah.
Are you talking
Karen,
to
it's your
me?
turn. Yes,
Okay.
We're talking to you. How does the universe work?
How does the universe work? Okay.
Yes.
I have one part of it. Let me. I think that. I think we have many lives. I think that that we, the person, the identity of our identity without the physical body is forever, and we move through many different stories, lifetimes, and when we come into the earth plane, or we may go out into another realm and another planet, another galaxy, and we can shift times and then come back here, go back out there. I remember I was a being of energy before I was born into this life figure. I remember that because I remember the thoughts and what I felt. And I do remember that. And I think a lot of us remember that if we're seekers or if we choose to follow the path of exploration of the universe. I think that there are many of us who have different species or races of extraterrestrial in our DNA. I think there are those that are of other races walking among us, shape-shifting to belong, to try to help, basically more and more. And I tend to take this a little bit toward the I say ET, but extra other races outside of the human race in conjunction with the human race. And there are more and more things coming around in the news, and people are going to see this. It can't be too soon for me, but it's going to help a lot. And I'm not saying they're all great, but the ones, if they had been so bad, we would have had a disaster before now. So the universe is, we are all part of the same thing. We are all one in the universe. And God, the source, the force of the higher beingness, is within us. And it's all that way. It's a beautiful force of anything that we want and we hold within us, within our highest belief and our highest desire, kind of like a dream. But not a dream, it's real. I think we don't even really know if we're not dead now. Whatever the word dead is, defined at that moment for that individual. I think we kind of wake up when we leave the physical plane into believing, oh my goodness, I'm alive, and this is what it is, and everybody's happy and wonderful, and whatever you want to have or you feel that's going to happen, it's extraordinarily fantastic will, and I think people call that heaven. I think that's one dimension of it. So it's hard for me to answer this question because that's a little part of the way I believe it to be.
I think that it's really Paula's studies of the Amici Zia, where the extraterrestrials of various sizes that lived in Italy actually stopped nuclear exchanges from happening by shutting down the electronics on the launch pads.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have a nuclear plant near us here, about an hour and a half away. And that's interesting you said that. I had thought that. But, I also believe that they don't have to be seen to be here either, and I know y'all believe that too. So I think they're among us right now, or we probably wouldn't be talking about them. I had an experience whenever I was 8 years old, and so I am an experiencer. And I had a bedroom when I was a child that was all yellow because I wanted yellow. And I was sleeping, and in my vanity was a little E.T. looking at himself in the mirror. And I think it was a male, but he was really cute, and he was looking around in that mirror and turning around, and it scared me, and I screamed out for my mother, and my mother came in, and I said, there was somebody in here looking at themselves in the mirror, but it looked like a doll. It didn't have any hair. It was just like, kind of like, looked like what Casper, that's what we knew back in the day. And she said, you just had a bad dream. She said, you just need to go back to sleep. I said, no, it wasn't a bad dream. It was great. And she said, okay, well, you just need to rest and go to sleep. And at the same time she opened the door, the little guy went into another space. He just went into space, diminished, disappeared. But I thought that was great.
What?
And it stayed with me for all these years. That was probably my introduction into going down this way.
That was amazing. Anything else you want to say?
Not at this very moment. I just think that I'm glad we're all here. And I'm glad we're here helping. And I know we are.
Thank you. Okay, I guess it's my turn. So I've done a lot of things like Tantra, and I came into the 3D physicality, and I was conscious when I came in, and I had to shut it down because it was the awareness that we're multidimensional beings and that I existed before I came. I was getting myself in trouble with my mother. So the ETs came in and they shut me down and kind of babbled my language. So I wasn't able to say these things, which protected me because my mother was acting out and she might have killed me. She was so frightened. She might have killed me and I wouldn't be here. So I was supposed to be here. when I met Dr. Lesson, we were teaching Tantra, and part of the Tantric practice is to get into this high orgasmic state, facilitated by your beloved. And I was able to consciously go out of my body astrally, and I found myself flying through time and space into the cosmos, and I was able to see all kinds of beings and ships and flying past planets, and eventually I went all the way to source, to the first I am, the first sub-parsing from consciousness, and I basically had an experience which I describe as high-fiving with God, with source, universal consciousness, and oneness. So I was able to go all the way through all the realms to the highest realm, and of course came back into the Janet form, and I'm living my life as Janet. So from my perspective, what I've learned from all these years and these practices and meditations and working with hundreds of thousands of clients, and whenever you have your own wounds, your own religious programming and family of origin stuff, the best way to work that out is to work with other people. So that was part of my healing process, because every time you work with somebody, you heal an aspect of yourself, and you heal an aspect of the cosmos and the universe. So I know that we can do this individually and collectively. We can heal this gaping wound that is now manifested as racism and COVID. So I do everything I can every day that I can do. I get up, I go, what's the first step? What little thing can I do today? And take it one day at a time. But there is no time. It's all simultaneous. So with that being said, I will pass the talking stick. We have a virtual talking stick here, over to Sasha. What is this going on here in the universe? What is the universe? How's it made? From your Dr. Lesson.
Okay, from my perspective, it's really well laid out by Ken Wilber, for example, that there's different levels of consciousness, and each level of consciousness has a seduction of the level where you identify, say, with your primary personality. You're a pleaser. You're, for example, that's a primary personality. You identify with that, and when you grasp and realize that not only are you a giver and a pleaser, but you're also a taker, then you transcend to the next level as regard that dichotomy. And when you start doing that, you go from being a separate mind inside of a body to being a body mind. You go from being a body mind to being part of a triad or a quadrad, which is a family, or a dyad, and then a family, and then so forth. And you start realizing that there's bigger and bigger things with which you can identify. And in the process of this identification, you realize that they're all aspects, and the higher lower is a spurious dichotomy just because of the way the body is when it's standing, and that all of them are really just a part, and that the chakras in which in Tantra we look at the different subpersonalities or splits in the person are just an abstraction, and really we're a whole functioning thing, and we're not really even a separate thing. And that really does bring us and the way I handle everything is I only have one time to worry about, or not even worry about. I have one time to experience, which is right here, right now. The past is with me right now. The future is how I imagine and hope and think of things and so forth. And one of the most interesting things that I'd like to toss back to all of you as a question is this idea of a karass, or a soul group, or an oversoul that Lessing talks about, because I definitely feel that with some people in my life, but also with people like, I got to say, like AOC, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. When she talks, it's like Jesus talking to me. I just know that that's where we're going. Anyway, so I'd like to know your take on the idea of soul group.
Mm-hmm.
I pass.
Wow.
Okay, back to you, Barbara. You're first.
Okay, so
I love that.
I love that too. I want to join that band.
Yeah, that is beautiful, Sasha.
I can join that band.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Wow. Yeah. It's like there's no end to it, right? There's like it's forever. That's that tune into that. because that's where we are. That's who we are, and it's exciting and it's fun and it's peaceful. That's
it's very
we have
peaceful.
soul groups, Barbara. Do you think of? We'll ask Barbara this, and then you, Karen. What do you think of the idea of a soul group? Do you have a soul group? Do you have soulmates? Have you interacted with people that you've been involved with in past lives? What's your perspective, Barbara? Then Karen.
Okay.
I couldn't hear the question. Can you?
Okay.
No, it's I'm sorry. It's Barbara's turn to answer, and then I'll go to you when we're done with Barbara. Okay.
I'm in love with everybody I meet.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's my soul group. Everybody's my oversoul group. Everybody, I really do. I just love everybody that I meet, everybody that I see. I just love everybody. That's all I can say, you know?
Love everybody you don't meet.
Doesn't mean
your love. Oh.
I'm sorry, what?
Does your love circle go to everybody in the world, or is it just people you meet?
No, it would be beyond the world. I think it would be on, it's mysterious. We're having this experience, but it's through a body and on the earth plane. And there's so many aspects of us that could be on Mars in a different body, or on a spaceship in a different body, or all 12 bodies at once, or 1,000 bodies at once, or 100,000 bodies at once. And it's this love and how you express it. We get to express it here. So I guess oversoul would be my family, my family, my star family, my family I haven't met, family I'm going to meet, family. It's like exponentially as big as all the stars we see, and then some.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Are you complete with your answer, or you have more?
No, that's good. That's good. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Excellent. Okay, now we're passing the talking stick to Barbara Jean. And
I'm passing the talking stick when you're finished with your utterances, so we'll know.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm passing my talking stick. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Karen, what is your concept of do we have soul groups, soulmates? I know you have a husband that passed. What, last year? Was he your soulmate?
I had a husband who passed about 8 months ago, and I knew this before I ever came in about him. In fact, I had a choice to go 2 places because he was already in one place. He'd already come in 8 years before me. And so there was a higher source who said, you want to go there? You have to go there if you're going to be with him. And I said, I don't want that.
Can you speak into your mic a little bit more directly, Karen? It's hard to hear. You can speak up a little bit.
Is that better?
Go ahead. Keep going. Yes, dear.
Okay. Shall I talk louder?
That's good.
Okay. So I didn't really want to go in that part, but this force said, well, if you want to follow him, you have to go in there. So I did, and we had a prior life that we had researched in England. We researched it for 6 years, and we went over to this historian, Andrew Cook, and it's very personal to him. And he looked identical to this person. This person was well known. I don't want to call any names on the air on this, but we spent 6 years of our life, and we took a carbon copy of the history of this particular character and Robert's character, and it was like a carbon overlay. And so I think we've had just about every life as a soulmate. I really do. And because I was like 16 and he was like a senior at A&M, and it was just unheard of back in those days to date somebody that much older. And so both of our parents had a fit. And so I jumped in the car with him one time. I said, "Oh, well, we've come back. We had a past life in Italy." And he said, "I didn't know I was going to eventually go there to live and have a life there. We were going to be separated for 20 years and then come back again." So we were together from 66 to 76. And it was very chaotic, the relationship. And then we separated for 22 years. And then I went and did all these other projects. And so then we came back in 2000 and we're together for almost 20 years and did this beautiful journey through consciousness and evolvement and processing past lives and doing everything. And he was a big ET devotee. And there's tons of stories. I won't go into them. But he has been so great. And like I told you all from the beginning, the thing that's impressed me the most, he's done so many things since he's left, is that I was checking my voice messages from my landline one day. And after he died, it was about 3 months later, his voice was there. And I have a video of him before he died, like a few years ago. And I let 3 people hear it. I may have let you hear it, Janet. I don't remember.
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah. And he said, I'm going to try a new vehicle. And that's what Derek thought. Derek's a sound expert. And so he sounded just really tired. And I got the fact that he was tired coming down through these dimensions. It took a lot of work to get there. But we had a code about a month before he died that he was going to come back and give me a lot of signs and symbols because we'd worked on this for so long. And he's just done an incredible job through music, through synchronicities that are, I need to write it, not to keep putting it off. But I've got to say that it was incredible. And I know
was there something in the music? Was there some special timing? What was the thing about the music? I think this is a magic key.
Yeah, the music is really interesting, Sasha. We had a memorial of life for him, and we both want to be cremated and go back to the dolphins. And so I was sitting in this living room picking out which music I was going to have done. And I had everything. And had some from the Moody Blues. He liked Tony Bennett. He liked all this. And then so I put on the Moody Blues. And then Tuesday afternoon came on. And he died on a Tuesday afternoon. And if you remember those words, it was as if somebody was leaving. And so that has stayed with me forever. That wasn't his favorite song. It's the one that he came out while I was picking out his music. And then later, just not long ago, it's hard for me to go to sleep because I have to shut down my motor. And so I'll play with my iPad in order to get myself to sleep. And someone had messaged me another Moody Blues called In Your Wildest Dreams. And there's so many symbologies of our life. And I thought, oh my God. And then after that, I'd gone to an elevator. And he uses music a lot with me because of my music ability and what I do. Sorry. And I live in a building, there's an elevator. And I was at the elevator and these words, row, row, row your boat. Life is but a dream, all of it. And I thought, oh my goodness, you're trying to talk to me about that. Okay, I'm getting it. And so then I came back, I guess it was about a week ago, another Moody Blues came on. Somebody sent me. It was real strange because these people weren't connected. And it was a follow-up of In Your Wildest Dreams. And it shows them going through all like the pictures and the Dali, Salvador Dali type pictures, and they run around and then they look at each other in the eye in the end and they come together. And whatever he's doing a fabulous job. Robert was very intelligent. He had a genius IQ, and he was a deep seeker. And I don't know. I think y'all met him briefly at the symposium. Everybody's in such a rush. You remember him, Janet?
Yeah, I do. I'll have to show Sasha a picture of him.
Yeah. And I think
I
y'all
remember
did.
having met him.
Everybody was in such a hurry there. So it was great. But no, I'm so happy with my life and my existence with all of these little signs and symbols. I just need to sit down and write it in this diary that I have for myself that I keep putting off because I don't want to lose them. So thank you. That's all I have to share.
You know, the Greys gave the Moody Blues those songs. Those are very special songs. The Moody Blues said the Moody Blues were taken on board a ship and instructed. We've got a lot of accounts of it. Yes, their music is something very, very special. You have to remember they were the real ambassadors to China. They're the ones that allowed us to be friends with China for a while. Even those are magical words. Those are amazing.
Oh, that's fabulous. You're supposed to be telling me this. I can feel him right this minute, and I can feel, what you're saying is just absolutely what I need. Keep going. That's just amazing. We're having a hookup right now.
It's just, give just a little bit more, take a little bit less from each other tonight. Say what you're feeling. Say what's inside of you. It's never out of your sight. Those are very powerful songs.
Oh, thank you so much, Sasha. It makes me want to have tears, and I can feel it in my solar plexus, just really healing. Bless your heart. Thank you so much. I can feel your energy. That's a gift.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, where are we? I think I'm next. What was our story about the Karas, the soul groups? Well, definitely, I feel that Sasha and I are twin flames. I had a near miss when I met the man before Sasha, and what I realized in all these downloads and meditations and education, learning, and studying is that we have a soul signature, and it's like a long number, and you can be very close in soul signature, and it might be that you're in the same group or something. And before I met Sasha, I met Ed, and Ed was very similar in his energy signature, but he was off by one digit. And so I thought for a while that Ed was my twin flame, but then meeting Ed led me to meeting Sasha. And when I met Sasha, it was just this was like the end of the journey. I found this person, and so but there's soul groups, and I've met a lot of my soul family. And then I found the Dr. Michael Newton Institute research where he describes it perfectly. What I was experiencing is that when we pass, we have a guide, and we each and every one of us have our own personal guide, and no one else has his guide. He or she is our guide, and and this person will manifest in a form that is that the person on the soul journey resonates with. So then we go from our guide to a council, and the council helps us to deconstruct what just happened in our life, and then we go to our soul group. And I think somebody said that Barbara, we can be many places at the same time. So yes, at the highest level, we're all one, and we're just all fractals of one. There's only one life, and we're all living these little fractals of the one life. That's what somebody said. I think that was the Seth material. But so anyway, I've been blessed. I've been blessed that I've met many of my soulmates. I've had some wonderful, phenomenal relationships. I've met the dark side of the force and had to learn to love everybody. And that is what do you call it? It's called samadhi, where you go into unconditional, universal love. And so you learn to love everybody. You realize that this is a big play and this is a game, and that it's just like a movie or a play where some agree to be the villains in the play and some agree to be all the other characters in the play. But at the end of the play, who gets the biggest applause? The villain, because the villain is the catalyst that propels us forth, and we grow faster as a result of having had the catalyst. So over to you, Sasha. He who asked the question has an answer. Do you believe in soul groups and crassus? And what's your? And then we'll go to.
I think I ask a question. Absolutely. You can just see that I have been selected by my ancestors and everyone around me to have a certain distinct understanding of human history. My Uncle Ben was head of the executive vice president of the International Lady Garment Workers Union. Fighting for the rights of people. I've studied Marxism since I was a kid. I'm an admirer of Fidel Castro, and I was a faculty sponsor for Students for a Democratic Society, which makes me one man out in terms of Revolution Radio. But I know that I've been brought here, as Susie Hansen said, to speak for peace, to speak for compassion, to speak for our oneness, to ask forgiveness of those that my ancestors have harmed, and to give me back my soul fragments that are with them, and for me to give them back the same, and to have a universal peace. And that's my mission. And those of us and I sense that a lot of you are in those missions too. And then I get submissions like, take care of Janet, God tells me. Yeah, but it's just there. And you know it. If you open up if you can feel what we do in my teacher's house still, what we do in voice dialogue is we feel things energetically, and we know how to feel things from each of our chakras, so that you can extend or retract or shield or open up. And once you understand the energetics, then you can go way past the words, and you can get a feeling for who is, like Janet says, very close to you in their location. And it doesn't have to be in the same time. It doesn't have to be in the same life. It could be a fictional character. What is fiction anyway? If it's a fiction, that means it exists in someone's head. If you imagine it, where is the image that you imagine it as? And so it's all here now all the time, and the parts that are more vivid to you, that are more salient, are indications of your dominant gestalt, the main motivation that's relevant for you now. And once you complete that gestalt, the next one will arise. So dig it. I pass.
Okay.
That's great. I love that. So fabulous.
Barbara, what question do you have for the panel?
Well, I want to say something that keeps coming in, and when it's bigger than me, then I just got to say it. And this is to Karen, and it is a Moody Blues song, and it keeps repeating. Wow. So I'm just gonna, and it is, I know you're out there somewhere. I know you're out there somewhere, and somehow I'll return again to you.
Oh my gosh, I can feel that. And thank you so much. That was the last song he sent me. So I feel he's present with you all, especially each one of you. I mean, I can feel this. Tonight is a very special time for a lot of things we're talking about. Thank you all. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you, Sasha, for giving me the information about the Moody Blues. And Janet, thank you, too, for sharing and talking. And I know Robert's right here helping us with this show. He was something else. He took care of me. Because I'm kind of a weenie. He was not. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
I'll pass.
Oh, okay. You don't have a question to ask us?
Oh, okay. It's a whole different question, though. Okay, it's like
fine.
It's a practical question. Okay, so it's like, and maybe we have the answer here tonight, and it's no big deal. But during this COVID thing, everyone's gaining weight, and I've gained like 10 pounds, and what the heck? And how do we change that up? Is it we're stuffing emotions, or what the heck's going on here?
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. I weigh the same amount. I'm 80 years old, and I haven't gained any weight. I'm muscle. I'm full of energy. This is bullshit. I have to get fat. There's calories in, and you subtract calories out that you burn. It's no big deal. Figure it out.
Okay. Thanks.
Sasha's magic.
That was a shook.
That's great.
Okay. I don't know. I stopped weighing myself. It's kind of like if we don't test for COVID, there won't be many cases. If I don't get on the scale, I don't know what's going on there. I think it's a big stressor for me. You know, I felt psychically that this was coming for a long time. I used to go buy things and I'd say, why am I stocking up? And it's like, well, for the end times, the end times. So in some ways, since this is my Christian upbringing, this is the end times, apocalypso. And we all knew it was coming all along. I don't know how this is like we're in the middle of a high-paced, fast-paced drama. And we've done this. We've done zombie apocalypse. There were movies going back to the 70s. I remember watching about the what's it called, COVID? What did they call the bacteria that escapes the lab that gets out? And I watched a series called Last Man on Earth. It was a comedy series. And so anyway, we had dress rehearsal. And I wake up and I go, oh, it's a new day. And then I go, oh, are we still in COVID? Oh, yeah, we're still in COVID. Is it getting better? No. And what do we believe? There's all this information coming, and there's red, and there's blue, and this planet is so polarized. And I saw the map. There's an agenda to divide this into 5 or 6 separate countries. And it's like, some people say, yep, this is all just leading up to the Second Civil War. And it's like, no, I don't want my country to be over and divided up. And so anyway, I run through everything because I have a very vivid imagination. And I watch all kinds of things and listen to all kinds of people, and I have my own stuff. And then people call me every day, and they're locked in their house. Besides weight, they're like fighting with each other. And it's like, well, you guys are stuck together. You got to figure this out. You can't be moving now. You're 75 years old, and you guys are together. So, yeah, there's a lot of people who are having problems with this. And I think it's a catalyst to propel us somewhere to the next highest level of, every closed system, when it gets too perverse, requires an outside perturbation in order to kind of melt down, blow up, deconstruct, and then reconstruct. And when we reconstruct, it's at a higher order. So I know the higher order is coming. We're in the middle of COVID. We're going to look back in history and go, well, that was pre-COVID. We behaved this way in pre-COVID, and then we have COVID, and then we have post-COVID. And we've had, people go, I don't know, they say this isn't real. We have had these pandemics since the Anunnaki released Pandora's box. This was an intentional system to periodically call the population. It's been around, I don't know, Sasha can tell you when they started that, biochemical warfare. It's been around, it's been in our air, it's been in our soil, it's under the ice, it's melting. And, and they used to do cloning and hybridize animals, and they, make a horse man and all kinds of stuff. We're learning to do it now. We have the same technology that the Anunnaki had, that they created humanity. And, they're playing with a lot of things in the labs. And Lord knows where it goes. If it's intentional, like George Green said, they're going to depopulate us down to 250 million or 250,000 or 500. I don't know what the number was. It's on the Georgia Guidestone. So I don't know. My question is, what do we do with all these conspiracies? And I think Barbara and I were talking about, well, all we do is it kind? Is it loving? Is it a ahimsa, do no harm? So that's what I do. Every day I say, what can I do to shift this into the higher level, like you were doing, Barbara, unconditional, universal love, realizing we're all one and just loving everybody. Okay, I'm going to pass the talking stick, which direction it goes. Who wants it?
Well, if no one else takes it, I would just like to say a word about what happens to people when they're in a quarantine and they're not used to hanging out with each other that much. When people get together, they're usually there's something about the person they get together with that is something they lack. It's really attractive. Like she's carefree and he's very controlled, and so she loves it that he's so controlled, and she won't have to support him, and he loves it that she's so free. And then when they hang out, especially if they're quarantined together, then the same things that they liked so much drive them crazy because they represent their disowned personality parts that they submerged when they were kids to protect their vulnerability. So what happens is she's just so careless the way she spends things, and it pisses him off before he loved it. And she said, he's really uptight. He never lets loose. And she hates it now. And all they have to do to understand it is how what's bugging them is just the fact that she would really like to learn and could learn from him how to be orderly and systematic, and he could learn from her how to be free and carefree, and they could achieve centeredness as to regard that dimension within their relationship, that being crowded together with somebody you can't stand and you love terribly is one of the best things that can happen to you if you can do what I just said. But that's like saying if grandma had wheels, she'd be a bicycle.
That's great. I say bravo.
Okay. So we're going to just have a loose talking stick. So the talking stick is there, so just grab it. We only have about 9 minutes. Somebody take the talking stick. Come on, it wants you.
That was awesome, Sasha. I just love the way you come across. It's just great. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I do too. I want to thank Sasha for the gifts that he's provided me tonight too. It's great.
And Janet,
thank you.
And Janet, you're great. You are.
Oh, thank you.
You Barbara, you're doing great too. We all love each other.
And so are you, Thomas.
This thing wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you, Thomas. I got to tell you.
We've been able to keep this in the air. Thomas is a saint.
The guy that was ahead of it, died, and Thomas has just taken over and saved the station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Applause for Thomas. Yay.
Yay, Thomas. Yeah,
right.
We're in the love soup.
I'm blushing. I'm blushing.
All right. So what can we do? What can we do? Anybody have any ideas of what's the next step?
I sure do.
Is there anything?
Give us a meditation for our people that are listening, so that they can walk away from this program higher than they started it.
Who are you saying that to, Barbara or Karen?
To both of you. I know both of you. Both of you have one to give us.
Okay. For me, it would be to take the time to have an out breath, because it's like we keep it all uptight, all up in our shoulders, all up in our upper body, that if we could just take a moment during the day to just take an out breath, and in that out breath, just really let go and let go and let go and let go and let go, and then fill back up with all that is, all that love. Just fill yourself back up and power up your heart chakra, power up your heart space, and power up your energy and your vitality and your happiness and your peace. I hope. I pass.
That's beautiful.
Okay, who passed? Karen, your turn.
I'm going to say something, and I get this from what the beautiful meditational energy that Barbara just put out, and I agree. This time that we've had today has been so filled with love, and I'm so happy that all of us are here experiencing this together. And I would like to also maybe gift some of this love or all of the love to the other races that are invisible, and that they know that they have those who really love them, and that we're going to help them come in and do what they need to do, and we acknowledge that they're already doing it. And I would like to just be in vibration in the thought of these loving races that are here to help with the light of healing and to keep our planet healthy and beautiful for Mother Gaia.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Hey, we have like about 6 minutes. Go ahead, Sasha. What would you like to say?
I would like you each to imagine that you have a friendly dragon that is only visible, or you only know it's there, and it's behind you. And so when somebody is bad rapping you, or you think you're having a hard time with them, just imagine that dragon is gobbling up all the gook that they're putting out, and at the same time, let hearts float from your heart to them, and think to yourself, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, and the dragon will eat all the shit they're throwing at you, and you say, I love you, I love you, I love you. See what happens.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Agree.
Thank you. Woo woo.
Thank you. Wow.
Wow. Well, I
Let's hear what
started. I'm talking. I started. I had a friend that came here for years. His name was Nanda, and he was always saying, you know, when you think a negative thought or you do something negative, or you just transmute it and you experience it. You all acknowledge it. You say thank you for coming into my life, but and you let it go and you replace it with something positive, a positive thought, action, deed. It's like when you're wrong, apologize. When you're right, apologize twice as hard, and just keep up leveling your own thoughts and who you are into kindness, love, and positivity. And eventually, since we're all one and all connected, you'll up-level all of existence. And it seems like I'm an individual and I'm powerless and there's nothing I can do. But we've shown in these experiments that when people get together and they meditate, that we can shift consciousness. And so it was, what was it, Cleveland or something? All the Maharashis got together and they meditated and crime went down. So we have some experiments with really reactions, and so we can do this. It doesn't have to be coordinated. That we can all just take a time each day to envision a world where we all love each other, we're all connected, and we are accessing our oneness and universal consciousness. So that's what I keep getting. So we've got just a couple minutes. We'll go around and tell us who you are, your books, your websites, how people can reach you. Barbara, take it away.
Okay. I want to thank you, and it's been a real honor to meet you here on the show. It's just like I feel like I know you already, Karen. So that and Janet said that would happen, and she was right. So thank you for sharing space.
Thank you, dear.
And our listeners can reach me at barbarajeanlindsey.com. Thanks. Pass.
And Karen, how can people reach you?
My name is Karen Gresham Nickell. Karen, Karen, Gresham, Gresham, Nickell, Nickell. And my website is karengresham.com. And if anybody wants to reach me, they can call 214-521-0869 and to leave a message and their name and phone number. And I usually get back several times a day.
Excellent.
And I really, and today was very special. Thank you so much.
Well, we enjoyed having both of you. I put everything up. There's lots of pictures of everybody and descriptions and bios on aquarianradio.com. Give me a couple days and we'll have the link for this show. And when we get the link, please spread it around to the world because, we're here to wake up and get conscious. Sasha, final words to you.
Do take a look at my site, enkispeaks.com. I have all kinds of do-it-yourself counseling paradigms, cue sheets that you can just either do yourself or do with a partner. And it's my proletarianization of psychotherapy. Anybody can do it if you want to, and I've made it possible. enkispeaks.com.
All right. What's your Barbara? What's the names of your books? You didn't mention your books. What are your books?
I have Dying for the Light available on Amazon, and I also have Seized by Sekhmet, A Goddess Revolutions on Amazon, and White Light Meditation is available on Amazon as well. And I can be reached at 818-688-1398. Leave a message. I will get back to you, and I'd love to do a reading for you.
Excellent. And Karen, what's the names of your CDs? Or your, yes.
I have several. I've forgotten some of them. I have one. Actually, I like the one in Portuguese the best. It has better sound. It's I Am Cosmic. And then I have it in English, I Am Cosmic. And then I have a couple of more Planetary Enlightenments in English. And Conscious Resonance is in English. And they're on Amazon.com. And then I do personalized MP3s also, and do energy readings.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio.
We're an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week. Yes. But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting. Yes, I see. By a simple majority in the case of purely internal affairs. Be quiet. But by a 2/3 majority in the case of more major... I order you to be quiet. Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look! It's just a flesh wound.
I don't believe I've seen such a display of courage, skill, nerve, grace, and stupidity.
I'll do you for that. Oh, what? Come here. What are you going to do, bleed on me? I'm invincible. You're a loony. The Black Knight always triumphs.
Roundtable Live Monday through Friday, 1 a.m. till 4 a.m. Eastern Time. Bring your mind, bring your ideas, bring your voice. King Arthur had nothing on us here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com.
Please, hi, Karl Marx here. I am all seriousness today, my friends. There is this show you must not listen to. The Ultimate Remedy with this guy, LB. This guy has figured me out. I hear it on Tuesday, and he is telling the truth. I mean lies. Stay away from this guy. Where's my good hairbrush? Anybody seen Mama?
Want to learn more about the Marxist agenda and other important stuff? Listen to The Ultimate Remedy with L.B. Bork, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern. Right here on Revolution Radio.
Find some comfort at Willow's World.